ready to have a big game. So I play e5, we get knight f3, knight c6, and now Magnus plays the move knight c3. Now this is the first sign that Magnus is not being very aggressive here. If he wanted to be aggressive, most likely he would have played the move bishop b5, creating the classic Spanish opening, or he would have played bishop c4, going for the very classic Gucci piano, which I lost in to Gukesh earlier in the tournament. Instead, we get knight c3. I play knight to f6, and now we get the move bishop to b5. Now, this is a little bit of a transposition here. Normally, the way you would reach this position is via the Berlin defense, with bishop b5, knight f6, and then knight c3. Normally, when white goes knight c3, knight f6, here the idea is to play something like d4, going for the classic 4 knights. So we get bishop b5. Now I play the move bishop to b4. Knight d4 is another alternative, which is playable, but ultimately, I want to be solid. So now Magnus castles, I castle, and here we get the shocking move bishop takes c6. Now I'm going to be honest, this is not a move that I expected. I was sure that Magnus would play the move d3, and after takes, and d6 is a very standard theoretical position. I actually remember having this position all the way back, I believe in 2010, during the World Team Championship in Bursa, Turkey against Vasily Ivanchuk from Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been 2008, but I think it was 2010. So this is a position I'm very familiar with. Instead, Magnus takes on c6. Now I spend 10 minutes before taking back with the d-pawn here. The reason is that already here, I knew that this was not a challenging try, but you have to remember, when you're playing against a player of Magnus's caliber, if you fall asleep at the wheel and you become a little bit imprecise, a position which should be dead and a complete draw can spin out of control, and you can be under pressure right away. So I spent a bit of time. So initially, I thought I could maybe take the b-pawn, but after knight e5, this move rook to e8, pressing the knight. After d4, takes, knight e4, and the move rook to e1. Knight to d6, and something like queen to g4. I thought this position could get very dangerous very quickly for me. White has ideas like bishop to h6, attacking the pawn. This bishop is on a closed diagonal. The knight is in the way. I'd love to get something like this, where I can push the pawn to open up the diagonal. But currently, this knight is in the way, which means that if I can't push the pawn, this bishop on c8 is very passive. Now, the computer says this line should be okay, but I thought about it, and the more I thought about it, the less I liked it, but additionally, I started thinking about the basics. Now, when you think about the basics in a lot of these Spanish variations, you almost always capture the d-pawn. So, the traditional Spanish with bishop b5 and a6, if white takes, you are always taking with the d-pawn, so you open up this diagonal for the bishop. So, when I was unhappy with this position after b takes c6, I thought about the basics, and I figured take with the d-pawn, open up the scope for the bishop. Magnus takes on e5, I go rook e8, knight to d3, takes, and now I play the move knight takes e4. Now this position is about as dead as a position can be. After rook to e1 and knight d6, you'll notice that we have the classic mirror on the wall situation. We have complete symmetry, exact same pawn structure, piece on the exact same squares, and already at this point, it's simply a matter of how long will the game go. So Magnus plays the move bishop to f4. Here I go rook takes rook, queen takes, and now I play the move bishop to f5. Both of us are trying to argue our bishops could be good on these diagonals. Magnus plays rook to d1, and now I play the move queen to e8. Magnus goes f3, I decide to play the move f6, get takes, king f2, and now I play the move g5. Now, I was very proud of myself during this game is that I used my time here. You'll notice that I am down 20 minutes. Magnus is pretty much blitzing out every single move in this position. He's not using his time, but it would be very easy here to fall asleep at the wheel and play something like king f7. And suddenly after g4, bishop c8, and something like bishop g3, white's knight is free to start jumping. This bishop on c8 is very, very passive. You'll notice this bishop is good. This bishop is staring at a dead diagonal. So if we reach a position like this, Magnus could try to start squeezing me. So I spent a bit of time. I played this move g5 here, very important move. Magnus goes back. Of course, he doesn't want to move his bishop off the diagonal, because now my bishop is very good, and this bishop is very, very passive on c1. So we get bishop g3. Here I play rook to d8, another important move here. I'm trying to stop white from being able to move this knight. Let's say he goes knight c5, I can simply go b6, and if white plays a move like knight to a6, I might even be able to play knight to e4, creating the classic fossil, where I check the king, and I attack the rook on d1. So Magnus goes king e2 here, and now the game ends rather prematurely by repetition. It was very clear to me that Magnus was not interested in playing today, or at least playing a classical game. He didn't want to play for the big fight. I think it's very clear that the game yesterday affected him very badly. I don't think it's so much that Magnus lost the game yesterday. I think it's the manner in which he lost, because the game that Magnus lost to Gukesh yesterday in an endgame where he was winning, that has been Magnus's bread and butter for the last decade plus. He is simply the best endgame player around, and to lose in an endgame, which is what he is best at, is just, I think, a big shock to the system. And it was very clear that Magnus was not very happy. So a rather shocking quick draw here, not what I think anybody was expecting in the matchup between Magnus and myself, but alas, it is what it is. Now, I do